second parak deals with Moed and also deals with Avelis. And the case here is a person had started to get ready to press his olives, and he became an Avel or an Ones, or Yontif came, or the workers didn't come. So what can he do in terms of getting not to suffer a loss? So there are two opinions in the Mishnah. First opinion, Rabbi Huda says he puts down the first board on top of it, which puts pressure upon the olives to squeeze down, and he leaves and lets it kind of squeeze for the rest of Chol Moed.
Korak Rishona, that's it. He puts down the first
board, which puts
leaves
the weight, leaves it, and it turns the first screw, and it begins to press down, and leaves it left the Chol Moed. And Rabbi Yossi says you can actually just squeeze them all the way down. Zolif means you pour them out into the Beit Abad, and you can squeeze out the shemen, v'gomer kedarko. Okay, so that's the Mishnah, and there'll be another Mishnah which will talk about the same thing for Yayin. And there was a long brisa which we had done, which talked about examples where a person may be permitted to do things that on a Chol Moed which are necessary. Okay, he's needed by the community, Uman the Rabbi and so forth. Okay. Now, we're actually about 6 lines from the bottom, when there are a couple of cases here that come up about people who are working together. Normally a person who has a job when he becomes an Avel cannot work. However, if he is an Avel and he's working with someone else, it's possible that he should not cause a loss to the other person, and therefore his animal could work as well. So the Gemara says as follows: Merion braid the Ravin.
So remember, I have different lines. So how far down from the
almost
it's
about 9/10 of the way down. Merion braid the Ravin, Amar braid the Ravacha, braid the Rava.
I'll see if I can find it somewhere, but. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, we did that already?
Rabbi Shimon.
Uman Larabim, that's what you said, yeah?
That's what we did already.
We're not there yet, or yeah?
Yes, we did that. We did Bir Acheret.
Adar Rabba, Kibolet, Kedide, Dome,
Right. Alem ben Kibolet, ben Shini Kibolet Yaseh. Hoyta Malach B'Yarachem, Veit Ol Yaseh, Veit Acher Yaseh. Okay. That game. So the Marion, this is the case. Marion braid the Rav, and Amar braid the Ravacha, braid the Rava. Havilehu Gamla the Torah. They had a yoke of oxen together. Each one had, I guess, one ox, and together they had this pair which they hired out. Bahade Hadade together. So Isra Be Milsa, Bamar braid Ravacha, braid Rava. Something happened. That's a euphemism, which means he suffered a loss. Okay, so he was Afan, Upaske Legamle, and he unhitched his ox from the yoke. So he didn't want to allow his ox to work with the other, with who's the other guy? With Miriam braid the Ravin, and therefore he was Mavatel. There was a loss both to him, who's an Avel, he can't work, and to his buddy or his partner, who also couldn't, who now the oxen was unhitched.
So this is a euphemism. Something happened to him means we're assuming somebody died.
Someone died, right? It's a common term. So the Gemara asks a question. Amar Ravashi, Gab Rabba Kamar braid Ravacha Avid Hachi. Did Mar braid Ravacha really do this? Such a great person would do this, that he would stop the yoke of oxen from going. He's not concerned about his loss because he is an Avel. He's not concerned for the other person or other people. In other words, there are partners. So if he can't work because he's an Avel, why does his partner need to take a loss as well? V'hatanya, we have, and it's part of what the Bryce was, it says Mohayu Muskarim or Muhtarim Eitzel Acherim Hare Elu Lo Yaseh. Hare Elu Elu Yaseh. If they were hired to work for others, then his animals can work as well. So in other words, he doesn't have to go to work, right? But his partner can lead the oxen who are hired out to work for others.
So Elu, we're saying here, sort of the animals in a way.
The animals, correct. In other words, when a person is an Avel and can't go to work, really he closes down. Everything closes down. His business closes down unless there's a terrible loss. So the same thing here. If he can't go to work, so this long brisa which we had done last week said, if he is a gamal, if he's a donkey driver, if he is a camel driver, a camel user, or a sapana, or he is a boat user. These were people who used. They were contractors with their own not machines, but animals or boats, so they can't work. But if they were rented out to other people, the animals can work. So here, his animals should be able to work. So he can't go, but his partner can go.
So, but does he get money, by the way? So, in theory, I guess because let's say he rents out his animal for so much money, and then he's an Ovel. So he says, okay, fine, the animal, because the other person's counting on the animal, right?
Right.
That's why I rented it.
Correct.
But I'm still getting the rent, so that's okay.
Yeah, he's still getting the rent. It was because it was said before, and he won't see the rent during the Avelas, but it's already rented out someone. The issue is the rent pales in comparison to the loss of the other individual. Won't be able to use the animal.
Absolutely.
So why would therefore Rav Acha braid the Rava?
Right.
Why would he allow his ox not to be worked at all? So the Gemara says, "Who savar?" He had his opinion was the Adam Chashav Shani. Then Adam Chashav, is supposed to be machmir himself, even things that are permissible for others. And Adam Chashav needs to set a level that's a higher bar. Okay.
Why was this Mar such an important guy?
Why was he an important guy? He was one of the Rabbanim.
Mar, the son of Ravacha?
Well, he was an important guy in the community. Now there are things that, you say people shouldn't make themselves too hardy. This is not about hardy, it's about taking a loss.
Yeah.
Right? So he felt that he wanted to kind of raise the bar.
He took another chumrah upon himself.
Correct. Okay. In other words, or the idea of an Adam Chashiv is people will learn from what this person is doing, and sometimes they may take liberties where they see he does this. If this guy does this, well, I can do surely more. Right? And you hear that all the time. So even though halachically it's really permissible, it appears to be almost like a chiyuv that he has to make it usher to himself, because if he doesn't set a bar higher, then people will even lower their bar even lower than that. Okay, so okay. Now
we're at the very top of Yud.
Now we're at the top of Yud Bet and Aleph. Okay, and this brisa actually talks about giving work to a non-Jew as a kablan on Shabbos.
Okay.
Okay. Now, why are we talking about Shabbos? You'll see, because it's going to bring itself. It's going to back into Chol Moed. Okay. So the rule is, and you can appreciate this. If I'm not doing work, if I give someone to do work on Shabbos, there are two ways they can be hired. They're hired by the hour, or they're hired by the piece.
Right.
Right. So once again, a lot of our heterim here of giving work to a non-Jew is they're not doing it in our house, and more importantly, we're not telling them when they have to do it.
Exactly.
Right. Even if they're working on our house, if you're not telling him when to do it, he just shows up and does it. It's okay, right?
But you have to.
But if it's in your house, probably not necessarily.
You
mean like a cargo mechanic or something,
right?
Something like that,
or more important, like a painter painting in your house on Shabbos. So the people, what's Mara sign, and people will learn this. Say, well, this guy's painting, you're painting. They don't know who's painting in the house.
But even though you didn't tell him to come, that's not on Shabbos.
Right.
Okay, but probably you could argue that halachically, other than Lamari science, like you say, it's his business to come when it's convenient for him.
On my street, one of the neighbors they were doing the roof on Shabbos. From guy. Oh, he's from, not that from. They're doing the roof on Shabbos.
Again, I think
I didn't say a word. It's not my business.
So ideally, that's not what you should do, right?
No, because first of all, why you don't want this done on Shabbos?
I'm just telling you a story. I couldn't believe it like a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So I mean, it used to be, the question was in the United States where mail was delivered on Shabbos.
Right. What?
Right. There's no mail delivered on Saturday here.
Yeah.
So can you actually mail a letter on Friday?
Yeah,
Friday,
absolutely.
Friday, because
knowing it's going to get there.
Because it's locally, it's overnight delivery.
It's U.S. mail. It doesn't get there over Shabbos.
So the answer is it depends how close it is.
No, I'm just making a joke. But
the answer is yes, you can really, because you don't really care when unless you really makbid that it should come on Shabbos.
Express or something.
Right, you can't send express overnight on Friday.
Friday night.
Right. So.
But I always thought that like if you take something to someone to do, you have to give them enough time. You can't take it Friday or Shabbos and pick it up Sunday morning. What's the Shabbos plan? You have to give him enough time such that he could do it when it was not Shabbos, right?
Right.
What about Yom Tov? The same idea?
So we're going to come to that in 1 minute. So Shabbos, Yom Tov, and Chol Hamoed.
Kable, we're starting.
Amar Shmuel. Makable kibolet. If I'm giving work to a Nachri, to a non-Jew, as a kabbalah, he's being paid by the piece.
But
so here's what
kibolet. Again, I think it has to do with the kablan, yeah.
Right.
The fact that he's a Gentile is just implied. You're saying. Or does one of these words mean Gentile?
None of that means it's implied, okay?
Yeah.
Kablan is what?
Kablan is a contractor, like
you're paid by the piece.
Not by the hour.
He's in business by himself.
We learned this last time, I forget what the difference was. I forget which is which.
That's a contract.
Okay.
He's worked for himself, in other words.
Okay.
You want me to do a job, you tell me the job, tell me how I should pay, I'll take care of it.
Okay.
So I said it's most proportionate understand this to be talking about Shabbos.
Yeah.
So Shmuel says as follows: B'socha tchum asur. If it's within the tchum, in other words, that people are going to see him doing the work for me, and they'll know clearly that this is work being done for me. Right? Let's say the Gemara talks about I'm giving someone to wash, and it's clearly that that he's washing my clothes. So my clothes have a big, I wear a very specific T-shirt or suit.
A big Y on it.
A big Y on it. So people are going to see that my clothes are being washed. No, it's not. I'm not washing it, but he's washing it. They may confuse the two. So if it's b'toch tchum, if it's within the area where I can walk, what's called tchum Shabbos, that Jews can walk, so asur. Chutz l'tchum mutar. Okay, if it's outside the tchum of Shabbos, he takes my clothes home, and it's not possible for anyone in this town to go see the guy doing the work, because it is beyond what the availability for our walking, because tchum Shabbos means where the town ends. I can go 2,000 amot, and it's beyond that. Our cities, of course, are contiguous, so that doesn't apply as much, except that once you get outside the GTA, right? So outside tchum is mutar.
But why? But aren't we concerned about the work itself? Because we seem to be more.
No, because he's doing the work. His work.
He's a goy.
It's his work.
He's allowed to work on Shabbos.
But he's doing work for you.
But you didn't tell him.
But I didn't tell him to do it for me on Shabbos. He's doing it right. I give. In other words, I go to laundromat. I go to laundromat on Friday. I go to the cleaners on Friday. And I pick it up on Tuesday.
But let's say it's something that you know is going to come up on Saturday. It's kind of something that occurs on Saturday.
Well, it doesn't have to do on Saturday. He's doing what he wants for. He's doing because it's convenient for him. You know, when I grew up in the Bronx, there was a Jewish cleaner. The cleaner, the local, and my parents always said you have to go give support a Yid. Okay, he was open on Shabbos. And we as kids, who always want the convenience, we said, we can't bring stuff to him on Friday, because we bring to him on Friday and he's Jewish. He's going to do it on Shabbos. It's not a good. But give it to a goy, I can give it to a goy on Friday, because if he does it on Shabbos, it's his convenient. But for a Yid, we felt uncomfortable, and actually it was for us an inconvenience, but that's because it was a Jew.
So you gave it to him not on Friday.
So you gave him Thursday, Wednesday, but at the end of the week, you want to take your laundry in. And it was actually extremely convenient. It was very close, but you couldn't do it on Friday.
You helped the Jew.
You helped the Jew, right? He came to shul. He came to shul on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur.
Right. They helped the Jew.
Of course they were right. And the same guy you saw doing the cleaning, he came on Yom Kippur. He sat in the same pews. So it was very nice. All right. Anyways, so chutz l'tchum mutar. Amra Papa v'afilu chutz l'tchum. And even if it's outside the tchum of this town, lo amron el leka masad mekarva lahasam. That's only if there is not close to another town. Right? The towns were very, very small in those days. So you could have one town is, it's a crossroads. And then outside you've got a tchum that goes for 2,000 amot, which is 4/5 of a mile. Let's say, how's that compared to a kilometer?
Sorry? 5/8.
5/8 of a kilometer.
A kilometer is 5/8 of a mile.
So 2,000 amot, 4,000 feet is equal to, it's more than a kilometer.
Probably.
It's 80% of a mile.
Right.
Why doesn't the Gemara mention Marit Ayin here? That is the klal we're talking about here. The definition of Marit Ayin.
Yeah, that's what it is. Correct.
But it's not even mentioned.
Well,
it's
because it's more than Marit Ayin. It's more of a concern that people think. It's more of a concern. It looks like he's working for me. So I guess it's a shtickle more than Marit Ayin.
The crazy thing about
is there an halacha?
And because it's not just Marit Ayin, because I've given it to him to work. So if I give him to work and he works in his own place, right? Then it's he's working for me. It's even more than Marit Ayin. So it's a chashad that people will have about me who's working and for him who's working for me. So I think the Gemara considers it a little more than even Marit Ayin.
What this all raises in my mind, frankly, is rechilus. Try to picture what we're talking about. We got a goy. Gossip, okay? Here's a goy. He took my stuff to another village.
Right.
Hey, somebody's going to know it's my stuff. What are you crazy?
Well,
you're looking at this guy's business to see whose stuff is clean.
So
I think in those days it was like painting place. Everybody knew everybody.
That's what I'm saying. You're talking about, and it's true. In little villages,
everybody knows everybody's
the
business.
Worst of the worst.
Everybody knows everybody's business.
Think of look what we're saying. We just read it like this. It's like
so. One issue in the other village is if they come to the other village, you'll say that I gave it to work on Shabbos. They show up with this work on Shabbos. They see them working. They'll say Yeres gave them to work on Shabbos and they went to a different town. We know that Yeres is there for a bad person. There's some Mepharshim actually suggest that the concern is if there's another village nearby, maybe the other villages will actually come to work and help the guy do the cleaning, do the working.
The Jews or
the Yidden, maybe. In other words, you say there's a funny kind of thing. They're concerned about Tchum Shabbos.
Right.
It's within Tchum. If it's outside Tchum, they're not going to come. But once they come and they see it, they may end up joining with them as well.
Okay. I think in those days people didn't have a lot. They didn't.
Well, I don't know.
People
had one thing.
They didn't have much. So someone's doing something. Everybody says, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
and you go, "I'm doing it for years, this, whatever." And that's how it was.
Exactly.
No, you got a job today. What'd you get?
Exactly.
But at any rate, so this becomes now. Shabbos is an idea that if it's outside Tchum, it's permissible. Inside Tchum, it's prohibited, and even outside Tchum, if it's inside the Tchum of another town, it's also prohibited. Amrav Mashasha. V'chileka Masa the Mekarva Lahasam. Did I skip a line?
No, I think I did.
Yeah, V'chileka Masa the Mekarva Lahasam. Nami lo Amran el b'Shabbosas v'Yomim Tovim lo Shchichi inshi de Azv Lahasam. That's only about Shabbos and Yontif, where people aren't going to be able to come there, and it's outside the Tchum, and therefore no one's going to be able to go, or it's very rare that someone would be within that Tchum, maybe just someone living outside in the forest or on their own. But Chalamoed, and there are prohibition of doing work on Chalamoed that you don't have to do that are difficult work, such as cleaning. So and people can travel. There is no Tchum Shabbos on Chalamoid. So then there is no Tchum Shabbos. So then because of that, it's going to be considered asar.
I got you.
Asar. Okay.
Gotcha. No, but that's the important thing. We're saying the exact reverse of what you might imagine.
Right.
Right. That on Shabbos and stuff, it's okay, but if on Chalamoid, you can't.
Right.
Right.
Now, to support this, so why was this brisa brought here? Why was this Mishmul brought here? Because of the Chalmoid piece.
It's a question.
Yes.
So Chalmoid, he's saying that you can't give it to a goy?
There are certain difficult labors. If you can't do it, the guy can't do it.
Because Jewish people will travel, see the goy doing it,
and they'll think I've been doing it.
I think I ordered it done, whereas on Shabbos the Jews wouldn't travel to the goy, so they wouldn't know it. That's
so I would think a little differently. I mean, if Chalmoid comes out on the weekday, So maybe you gave it to, let's say, Moed is, is Thursday. So you gave it to him on Monday. Why would you have to think that? I think it's going a little far.
You don't think that someone...
It's like...
think the better person. You don't think he did it.
No, they always did. People would think they did.
Overly suspicious to think that this guy is...
No, it's...
especially since he's a kablan. Especially since he's a kablan.
So I don't know that people stretched out their work the way they do today. People probably got the job and did it as quick as possible. So the concern was that he worked in Chol Moed, he got the job today. Or he's working for me today. And maybe I would be working as well. You're right, these all sound a little far-fetched.
And not much work. There's not much work. Like that today, you got 40 jobs lined up. They don't have any jobs. They got a job. Yeah, what'd you get, you know?
Please, if you've ever seen day laborers, and I have seen them waiting for a job, in a train station,
unskilled.
How about New Jersey? When I was just there in the morning at Home Depot, you see gangs of Mexicans waiting to be picked up for the day.
That's just like the Arabs I'm saying we used to have. These are day labor. People who are hoping you'll hire them.
And whole gangs. These are tile layers.
They got no jobs.
These are carpenters. These are... Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't realize
you could take someone home.
New Jersey.
I hear you.
New Jersey.
There's more every day coming in all the time.
I know, but look how far north they're going to New Jersey.
Well, why not?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So once again, all of this is about a chashad that I may have given him the work to do on Chol Moed, and therefore it impacts upon me. So now, to support this, the Gemara brings a case, a real life case. Okay. So Ikla. I'm sorry, no, I'm just going to skip line. Mar Zutra braid the Rav Nachman, Banu le'apadna, Mekabli Kibolis, Chus L'tchum. So Mar Zutra braid Rav Nachman they built for him a mansion, some kind of fancy building, a castle, a mansion, who built Mekabli Kibolit. Goyim, who were Kablanim, built it for him outside the Tchum. And it means apparently they must have built it when? Even on Shabbos.
Why?
That's a good question.
Otherwise, they wouldn't bring the question up. You mean, why did they do it on Shabbos?
No,
why
do we assume that? Like he work on Shabbos.
Well, they found out.
They found out that he worked on Shabbos?
Not he. The Nachman who were building.
They found out that they worked...
Somebody found out they were working.
Someone found out the
work.
No.
For a walk.
Some people came by and they found there was...
This is a fancy place, we just said.
Someone was outside. But they don't say that they assume that he was built on Shabbos.
Somebody probably saw it.
Except it's outside the tomb, so we have to assume that they were just inside looking.
They're doing a mace mitzvah, they have to go outside the tomb, I don't know, whatever.
You know what? They thought no one would know.
He said, no, because you know what happens is, it's like I'll go for a walk or something, when someone's coming in, something happens.
Is it possible, even theoretically possible, that Mar Zutra did not know the halacha?
No, I don't think so, because you see from the continuation of the story what exactly may have happened. It's even worse. Okay.
So outside the tchum, they're building a house.
They build the tchum for him outside the tchum, and you'll see in a moment what happens. And Ikla Rav Safra Rav Huna braid Rav Chinna, below all the gabe. Rav Safra Rav Huna braid Rav Chinna came, and they wouldn't go into the house. Because if Mar Zutra didn't know that the house was being built on Shabbos by these non-Jews, they found out about it. And therefore they did not want to benefit, even indirectly.
Oh, he didn't know.
That's not halakha l'maisa, is it?
So, okay.
That's not halakha l'maisa.
So it's going to be Adam Chashuv again. Okay. So if you the Amrei, Hu Nami Lo Al B'Gavei. And according to some opinions, even he himself didn't go into the house.
Sure.
Okay, so two versions. Either these great rabbis refused to go in, or he himself, after it was built, he refused to go in. And what did he do with the house if he didn't go in? He probably had to sell it.
I think someone still wanted to be paid.
Can he sell it? Sure, he sold it, I guess.
And he gets the benefit from it.
Whatever.
He benefits from it.
But it's an indirect benefit. Now.
No, direct benefit.
Okay, wait. But the Gemara asked the obvious question: obviously he didn't know it was built on Shabbos. Why did he not know it was built on Shabbos?
He wasn't there.
Wasn't there.
Why would he not? Why was he
It was
not
outside
there?
the tchum.
It was outside the tchum.
How come everybody else do?
So these rabbis were very careful. Someone tipped them off, and they didn't want to go in. But only in hindsight, only after the building was built, did they come and not want to go in, or only after it was built did he himself not want to go in. The Gemara says, "V'amar Shmuel b'kabli kibbos b'toch ha'tchum asachus l'tchum mutar." We just learned. We just did this piece of Shmuel. If it's outside the tchum, it's permissible.
Exactly.
He doesn't care when they're building it. They build it Shabbos, build it Sunday. No one's around. No one's around. No one is around. Okay. So the Gemara's answer is Adam Chashiv Shani. That an Adam Chashiv is different.
He has to hire Kabbalah and be very specific and be careful about all.
Well, he has to set the bar. He has to set the bar because if he's not going to be careful, no one else, people will be even less careful.
Didn't Reichman on his buildings didn't work on Shabbos? All his contractors, I believe that was the case. I don't know if that's true, but that's what
could be.
Once upon a time, when I was in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, they had to do electrical work on the JCC. It's interesting. In small towns, JCCs are closed on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Big cities, like here, they're not. Okay?
They used to be.
Yeah, but today they're not. Okay? But
Many years ago they were not.
If you look across big cities, no, there probably is nothing in small towns anymore. But anyway, one time it happened that they needed to do some major electrical work on the JCC, and they came to ask me. They said, "What should we do?" I said, "If we do the electrical work, we have to send the building home, all the workers home for at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Can't do the work in the building when people are around because it turns off. Because you have to turn off the main switch. However, there was a Yontif coming up. Could be Shabbos because work is not going to come on Shabbos. Can we do it on Yontif when the building's closed anyway? And I told them no, because the JCC was actually right in the middle of the Jewish community. So I thought that was actually.
Had it been not, you could.
I said, had it been like for example, how many people walk by the BJC these days? It actually is in Tchum Shabbos, so people don't go down there. But that was literally in the middle of everything. Anyways. They listened to me. It was even better. Okay, and the workers were very happy. The workers at JCC, they got a half a day off. Yeah, win-win for everybody. So
except for the person paying.
Except for the JCC. Correct. That's right. They didn't cost them any more money.
Yeah, well, sure.
They didn't get the work out of them.
They didn't get the work out of them for half a day. That's all.
You think they didn't pay them? Who knows?
Nah, they paid them. So anyway, so one answer is Adam Chashav Shani. Because the Amrei Siyur Saya Betivna Bahadayu. So this means that he actually supplied the workers, these contractors, with straw. I guess you have to make bricks. You have to start with straw. Rav Marzutra did not know they were going to work on Shabbos. He assumed they're working Sunday to Friday. They were independent contractors, but he gave them the straw to do the work. So because he supplied some of the material, he felt he had a chelik in what was built on Shabbos. So actually
that's how he felt.
And that's how he felt. That's all. It's really connected to Adam Chashav as well. We're saying it's Adam Chashav, but even
7/7 of the amount of straw you use.
Whatever it is, okay? Okay, so this is once again this is the halacha. Okay, Rav Chama Shorlei Le'abungre the Beiresh Galusa. This is a very oblique story, but the Bungre, like workers in the Reish Galusa's house, they may have been like waiters or servants. And Lemeved Lehu Avidita B'chol D'Mo'ada. They allowed them to do some work, like maybe they had to fix the tables. Rashi says if the table broke, they could fix it. He allowed them to fix it on Chol Moed. Why? You can't go fix tables on Chol Moed normally. Amar Keva de Argelo Kashakle Sharshuya Hudukom Sharshile. He said, seeing that they don't really get paid for what they're doing, these guys get work for food. These waiters will basically
maybe
pay.
It's got a fixed salary no matter what they did, maybe,
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think they got any salary.
Maybe they just got room and board.
They just got room and board. So therefore, what they're doing is really not considered working for. It's not really considered malacha because they're not really being paid for what they're doing. So it's not clear to me why this is better, be it they're paid or not paid. But that seems to be the heter here. So who the komashar shaleva less lanba, and therefore we're not that concerned about it because they're not being paid for it. The question of these are Bungari Jews or goyim. It's not even clear from the story, right? If you take the story as a continuation of the previous part, it would be goyim. But maybe they actually were considered Jews. They were Jews as well. Okay, they're doing some kind of carpentry work. All right, Tan Rabbana, Mekabin kibolas b'moed lasoto la'achar moed. You can accept to be a kabbalah on Chol Moed in order to do the work after Chol Moed. So you can do the contract. You can accept.
You're the contractor now.
Right. You can accept the responsibility, provided the work is done after Chol Moed. Uva Moed aser. However, if you go on Chol Moed, it's permissible. It's prohibited. Excuse me. Or it's either read Mekabel kibos Moed lasod achar Moed uva Moed aser. If you don't do Chol Moed and after Chol Moed and Chol Moed, it's aser. So
it sounds like some part of the work should be done after and some during.
But the only time it's going to be permissible if you do all the work after Chol Moed, that's okay. But if some of the work is going to be done on Chol Moed, that's aser. Kol shel davar, kol shu oseh omer l'nachav yoseh. Whatever he can do, he can tell the non-Jew to do. V'chol she'eno oseh, eno omer l'nachav yoseh. If he can't do it, he can't tell the non-Jew to do it as well. Okay. So in other words, the same concept we said before. If I can do it, it's okay. If I can't do it, I can't have someone else do it.
No, but are we saying again? So till now, we've been talking aside of the specific things they prohibit in the school, outside the school, in general. If I don't know what, I give my car to a goy on Thursday or Friday,
right,
even for that matter, and I say fix it, I'll pick it up on Monday. So are we saying we can't do that? I mean, he's a kabbalah, right? He'll do it whenever he wants.
So according to this, it looks like I can't do this. Yeah, it looks like
I always thought that my employees, you can't tell a goy employee to do what you can't do on Shabbos, right?
So I think the malacha is malacha that's identifiable with me. Right, as opposed to the garage is going to do the work in the garage. They don't necessarily have to take my car out. Or I give someone to do piecemeal work and they're working in their house. People don't see what they're doing, what they're not doing. They take the work home.
To be honest, for centuries, all those Shabbos goyim we had in Europe, our ancestors who cut wood and brought fire and all this stuff. So theoretically, the only way the guy was a kabbalah.
No, the only thing that the Shabbos guy did really was put on lights and put on fire. And the heter for that was if we wouldn't have fire, we would freeze. And if we would freeze, we would get ill. So it's really a heter based upon a chol she'ein bo sakana, which could be a chol she'esh bo sakana. That's really the heter. That's the heter. The guy would come around on Shabbos to stoke the coals and make sure the fire was on.
Right.
And the heter to put the lights on, for example, like the lights on in the shul, was really because I could read without the lights.
Because I could,
yes.
Yes.
Only it makes it easier for me. If there were no lights in the shul and shacharis, that's really the heter. The heter was Friday night. You lit the lights before Shabbos. Okay. That lasted Mincha Marav. Shabbos morning, I could really use. If I didn't have lights, I could still daven. A little more difficult. There was windows of somewhere.
Pretty dark in Russia, but depending on the time of the day.
Whatever it was, they didn't start davening when it was dark. In other words, in Europe, they ran around sunrise to sunset. And Mincha, once again, it still was light. And Marav, theoretically, whatever Marav was, it was after the time for Rosh Shabbos.
They say Baruch Hamav Dav Marav.
Right. So they could light it themselves. So the heter really for calling the guy or having the Shabbos guy putting lights on was same thing, but also same thing was the lights were really because I could read without it. This just made it easier. It didn't allow me to do something I couldn't do without it. It was more in gradation.
Two separate heterim, you're saying. One for the lighting was one.
The lighting was really because I could do it usually without it. The fire was because I couldn't do without it, and people would get sick. That was it. Can you imagine living in Europe with no?
I always thought it was the kabbalah, so I'm glad that I brought it up, because to me.
And even then, you couldn't tell the guy on Shabbos directly and so on and so on. But the heter really.
No, I agree, because here at the beginning of our Mishnah, we seem to learn that Forget the guy, the ish chashuv.
But that's why it only was for the stoves and the fires. It was not for cooking. It was never for cooking.
Yeah, but let's say again.
Come back to the couple. I want to make it. It was never saying that.
Because you'd be cooking.
If I can't cook, he can't cook.
That's again. I come back to. I got to stick with the beginning of this.
Right.
Does the beginning of this Mishnah? That's the impression I had of the Gemara. Other than this ish chashuv, and even I don't know what, did it give you a right to have a goy, a kablan, do something, or are we saying no? A kablan, if people thought I did it, in other words, which is the whole question of the tchum, right? Because in principle you could give work to a goy to do work. Yes, if he's a kablan,
but he's not doing it in my place.
That's what I'm saying. So the key seemed to be he's not doing it in my place.
Correct.
Right. So presumably, to get back to the example we said before, if a goy came in and carried in a log, and people saw him carrying in a log on Shabbos, they would think I carried it in or something, or what? I mean, what can I say?
They knew in Europe it was carrying it in because it was cold.
Yeah. Not interesting. Yeah, no, that's good.
But that's the only heter that exists in Europe for putting on the fire.
I hear you. Yeah,
fire.
I'm glad I asked.
Yeah.
In Israel, you wouldn't do that. In Israel, there's no fire in Israel, but the lights you still do that for the warm climate.
So in other words, the answer is yes. If it's warm, you don't need a fire.
But as far as kablanim is concerned,
but the truth is in Israel. In Israel, I guess if you put a fire on, it's because it was cold too.
The winter, maybe. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
So the rule of kablanut is I can give a goy work to do on kablan.
Yeah.
Shabbos, provided it's not anywhere near people who think I'm the.
But it's not in my house, and people aren't going to see them. Correct. Okay.
Sorry.
Now, some more piece about kablanut.
Tanya Yidach.
Mekabel kibod moed lasot lachar moed v'lo uvad shlo yimdod v'lo yishkol v'lo yimaneh k'derech shoseh b'chol. So then this brisa says I can set it up on chalamoid for him to do after chalamoid.
Right.
However, when I set it up on chalamoid, I can't do it so exact. I can't measure it out. I can't weigh it out. I can't count it out. No, I can't say to him, okay, here you have to, I don't know, sew this garment in, and it's 1 inch, 10 inches by 12 inches, or...
This was the case, sorry, I thought you said that the case we were just talking about just before was where I'm the kablan, no, mekablin.
So I'm
the kablan, I'm the contractor.
You're the
agreeing to do some work for you after, am I right?
Correct.
After Chol HaMoed.
Correct.
Right, okay, so you want me to do whatever, build something for you. I'm a carpenter.
Right.
I can agree to do it after Chol HaMoed. I'll do it now. I mean, I agree now, but I'll do it after Chol HaMoed,
But you can't set it up in a way that looks like I'm doing real business now on Chol HaMoed. No, you can't create an exact structure. There has to be a little bit of estimation going on.
I got you.
Okay. Tana Rabbanan. Now, once again, this is unrelated. You can't cause animals to conjugate together on Chol HaMoed.
How do you do that?
How do you do that? You put the male on the female and you insert.
But you're actually lifting the animal?
You're actually putting one animal on top of the other and you're actually putting them together.
You do put them on. You don't have to, again.
Are you allowed to do that? That's good.
For those of us who've actually
on Yom Tov,
I don't know.
On Yom Tov you can.
You put it together and you get...
You can't actually. We're talking about actually causing the animals to mate. To mate. You can't.
My neighbor next door to me on my moshav. I never lived in a kibbutz. I'm a capitalist, not a god.
Okay, sorry.
He bred horses together with Arabs and stuff like this.
Right.
So they would organize it all. When a mayor comes into heat, believe me, you don't have to do anything, but you got to bring them there, and you got to be careful that they don't kill you and everybody else.
Right.
So I assure you, there's a whole amount of work involved just getting them together and keeping it safe and whatever. Okay?
So this is allowed on Chol HaMoed.
It's not allowed.
This is not allowed.
Not allowed. This is difficult work. This is it's difficult work and it's skilled work. It's skilled work. It's human work. This is not about feeding animals and pulling animals and carrying animals and moving. This is serious stuff. Okay. At Kiyotzebo, a similar kind of thing, unrelated completely to Chol HaMoed, and Marbim b'Bechor v'Vlo b'Psulim Mikdashim. Okay, Bechor, the firstborn animal, you can do no work with it. Cannot work. You can't put it onto a yoke. has to be brought as a korban. Psula mikdashim, where animals were supposed to be brought as korbanos, became puzzle. Once again, they were to graze. They could not be done work with it. The Gemara understands, the Torah Sheba'al understands, mating animals is actually considered work.
It is work.
Okay, it's work for the animals.
No, it's work.
Okay. In other words, it's work
with the people. It's not with the animals.
What's talking about the animals? In other words, it is forcing the animals by your subjecting them to this process. You are as if you're putting a yoke upon them. You're causing this to take place. I know it's natural. I know it's the way of the world, but nonetheless, you're causing this to happen.
I thought the Torah answered us, not our animals.
Correct. So therefore, we can't do it.
No, but if you put
We can't do it. We can, the same way I cannot put a bechor on a yoke to pull a wagon. I cannot mate a bechor with another animal, or I can't.
Because
I am forcing the process to take place, and
you're gaining something that was produced on Shabbos.
Also true.
No, I don't mean.
It's not Shabbos. It's not about Shabbos. It's about bechor. It's about bechor. Bechor is about doing work. The firstborn animal, the bechor, is a kaddish to Hashem.
Yeah.
You cannot cause it to do work. Lo savod bechor sharecha v'lo goes bechor sarecha.
That's any time of year.
Any time of the year, 24/7. But therefore, one of the things I can't do, it doesn't have to tell me I can't have it pull a plow. Obviously, I know that. It says I cannot mate the animal if it's a bechor.
Oh, anytime.
The animal wants to mate on itself, it's fine, but I can't cause it to do this because my putting this into this position,
or whatever,
right? My handling of this and my forcing this is considered making the animal do something that they're not necessarily going to do on their own.
Anytime, or are you talking about?
Anytime. So a bechor, right?
Sorry, I got mixed up.
Just throwing this as by the way.
Oh, okay, I got mixed up. I thought we were talking about Yom.
This is nothing to do with Yom.
I got mixed up.
Talking about you can't do it on Chol Hamoed. You also can't do this at all with a bechor and psula mikdashim. Okay. Tanya Idach, another brisa, Ein Marbiim Behema B'chol Shemoed. Another brisa says the same thing. You cannot cause the animals to mate. Can't put the male on top of the female on Chol Hamoed. Rabbi Yehuda says no. There's one permissible time. Chamor Shetava. If a chamor, a female donkey, is in heat, Marbiim also Zachar. You can actually cause a male to mate it. B'shvil Shalot Tztanein. Because if not, then it will lose its heat and may never come to mate again. I don't know if that's true or not true.
And even if it was true,
it's only a few days or something.
Whatever.
We're talking about a loss now. Is that the idea?
Might be a loss, or maybe you can't wait till after Chol Hamoed, or
once a year. Maybe have it once a year.
Right. So in other words,
it is. Why shouldn't you be able to do it unless we're talking about a loss?
Chol Hamoed.
That's what I'm saying. You're talking.
Right.
I'm saying because of Chol Hamoed, right? You're saying the only reason you would allow it. He's saying you allow it here. Yes.
Because it'll.
Because of the loss, presumably.
Right. But it says b'shvil shalot tztanein. In order it shouldn't cool down. In other words, go out of heat.
Yeah, but
so I understood this to mean that if it doesn't make now, it may.
Chilled, it says here.
Well, the same thing. Cools down. It's out of heat. Yeah.
So it will not mate again. That's how. Maybe I was wrong, but that's how I understood it.
No. Why? I think you're right.
Maybe for the year or whatever.
Let's say it wouldn't mate again. They don't come into heat every day. So whatever period it is, yeah. It either maybe it'll never mate again, or more likely you'll have to wait 6 months.
Correct, something like that. So therefore, this would be a big loss.
That's what I'm saying.
This would be a big loss to the animal, to the person, of the owner of the animal, and therefore, as a result, that's permissible. Ushar kol behemos. Now the chamor is a special case. I guess it required manual movement to make it work. Ushar kol behemos machnisin oton lebekaros. All other animals, you put them into the corral and you let them do what they have to do. In other words, they will mate naturally on their own, like sheep will perhaps mate, and they don't need to be manually attached one to the other. Okay. Next brisa, Tan Rabbanan ein medairin. Medairin is to cause dung, to put an animal into a field that it should leave dung behind to fertilize the field. Mm-hmm. This was natural fertilization, so you can't cause the animal to do this. In other words, I can't move the animal into a certain area specifically to allow it to fertilize the area. Lo b'Shabbosos, lo b'Yomim Tovim, lo b'Chol Hamoed. I can't do it on Shabbos and Yom Tov and Chol Hamoed. V'imbo me'eleihem. Now it means if it came by itself, who came by itself? It means the animal, or some of the Rishonim say it means actually Nachrim. If Nachrim came and moved the animal into this area by themselves, mutar, then that's okay. Whatever the dung is there is permissible. The Messiah knows so, but I can't help them. Once again, you see, he's talking about human beings. Either I can't help the animal go to this field, or I can't help the Nachrim, the non-Jews, bring the animal to the field to go from one place to the other, in order that the field should be manured or fertilized. The Mosim Lahem Shomer L'Nairas Atzon. And I can't even give them a watchman to L'Nair. Here Rashi says means to watch. To watch the sheep, because it knows that they do it on their own is fine. I'm not helping them. I can benefit from it, but I'm not responsible. Okay. Now l'nair, by the way, is a funny term for watching, right? So they say l'nair. I forget where. So it's one of the Rishonim says l'nair, which means actually to move, refers to the shomer who would actually make sure that the balls of dung would roll in the different areas. In other words, spread it out. That's what l'nair means, like to move it around. So that's where the term is coming from. He's watching the animals and helping to dissipate or move around the different parts of dung. However, if the Nachri is hired to manure my field, not for one time, but for Shabbos is the whole week. And the Chodesh is a whole month. Shana is a whole year. Shavua is a 7-year period. So I hired this non-Jew to be responsible for fertilizing my field for a long period of time. So in such a case, Messiah also. So I can help him. Then I can actually have someone else who can I can pay to and I can assist other non-Jews to help this guy do the work. Either they're going to help move the tzon, or move the dung, or watch this and so forth. Because it's not just working for Shabbos.
Clearly.
It's all included in everything else. In other words, it's if to say that what he's doing on Shabbos is like it's come subsumed.
A long-term contract.
That's correct. Okay, and then the last tweak on this, Rabbi Omer, b'Shabbos, b'Tova, b'Yontav, b'Mizonos, b'Moed, b'Sachar. That on Shabbos, when these people do it, I can consider it a favor. I can't pay them. Yontav, I can actually give them food as payment, and Moed, Chalamoed, if they do it, I can actually pay them outright. And Rav Yosef, Hilchos like Rabbi, and Rav Yosef says, Hilchos like Rabbi, that on Chalamoed I can actually pay these people. The other times, I can do it. If the guy wanted to help him, he can be paid with either on Shabbos with do him back a favor. On Yontav, I can give him food if the guy's helping the non-Jew, and on Chalamoed, he can even be paid for it. Okay, so this is the end piece of this first Mishnah. And that'll take us up to the next Mishnah. I think probably it's a good place to stop because we're going to be out for a whole bunch of weeks here.